Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. Thank you for accepting our invitation and attending our webinar presenting SmileFy and Veneers, our newest update. My name is Ralph George. I'm the creator of SmileFy, and I'm very happy to show you the latest level of development. And I hope you are going to have a lot of fun. And, we will answer questions. We will learn from your feedback. And we will go step by step through a very, very specific workflow and very unique workflow. With me, we have Jorge, our colleague, and he's the one for support and answering questions. So if you have something, please write in the chat. Jorge is going to answer, and then we will answer your questions one by one, and we will discuss everything in detail. So, as mentioned, our newest release with SmileFy includes a lot of new and very unique features. And I'm happy to show you how everything works, how we change the workflows, how we created something that is more complete compared to everyone else who creates veneers. And for us, it's very important to be able to have a workflow which is very, very clean and very fast. So first, I'm going to show you what we're going to do step by step so that you understand the principle of the workflow, and then we will go over to the app and we will show you everything in the software. So first of all, we do have the design. As you can see, we have the design, and this design is done over the prep. In the first step, we will mark the prep area. So you see, we do have the prep, so post-op scan. We will mark the area to create a visual reference for the contact area between the veneer and our scan. We will create with one click 2 3D layers. One layer, it's going to be the thickness layer, the safety layer that we set, for example, 0.45 millimeters. And the second layer, it's going to have 0 thickness, but it's for us the visual reference for the prep area, which means the contact area between our veneer and the intraoral scan and the patient's tooth, right? You see, when we have this layer, we can check if the thickness is enough to create a veneer, to print or to mill. In the mesh editor, we will readjust the palatal area and the margins of our design. We will correct the thickness in case we do have a way too thin area, less than 0.45 millimeters. We will use AI to analyze the interproximal spaces and correct them automatically. Means the interproximal contacts, now the teeth they overlap a little bit, so we're gonna use AI to analyze and to correct. Then we will create the margins, and finally we will create the veneer, which is ready for printing. Good. So let me go. Of course, we do have around 160 registrations. Everyone who cannot be live with us tonight, we will send, of course, the recording so that you can rewatch everything what you have. Now, let's discuss the design. Usually, when you have a project, you start with the mock-up, right? You start with the initial scan and the mock-up. You have the initial scan, as you can see here, and eventually you create an ideal design, which is this design here. Ideal design means that's gonna be the final design of your aesthetic treatment. All the areas that go out of the intraoral scan have to be prepped, right? It's a additive and subtractive design, and that's the design that you will print, put in the mouth of the patient, prep through the mock-up, Galip-Gurel principle of aesthetic restorations, having the ideal design, creating the mock-up in the mouth of the patient, and now prepping the areas that are going out of the design will help you not to over-prep the patient. It's a minimal invasive prep. Afterwards, you scan the prep of your patient and import back into the project. We calibrate the original scan of the patient with the prep scan of the patient like this. And now you do have the final design of the patient. From here, we need now to make the steps to adjust now the design over the prep margins and create the veneers. Okay, my light is it's not in the right position. It should be like, I don't know, like this. Oh yeah, that's better, but good. So let's analyze a little bit the design. Having the design and the prep margins, it's very important to check, of course, if we do have a clean design. If we have to readjust the design, the position, usually you see when you have something like this, you can check if with the prep and the design, very important, you lost lip support for the centrals, right? Because what can happen is when you prep and you design, you can eventually design way too lingual. And then you lose support, lip support, and maybe you miss 1.5 millimeters, and then suddenly the lip collapses, right? But here we can check and see, okay, we are very close to the original teeth of the patient. This one was wrong from the very beginning because that central was in the wrong position, right? So for that central could be an ortho correction or a more aggressive prep to make space for the veneer, right? But we didn't lose lip support. You see the canine, here the canine, the laterals, the left central, we have the lip support preserved. And of course, now we need to adjust the palatal area and prepare the veneers. But we do have a lot of features, right? And sometimes you may ask, too many features, how should I go? For that reason, we created top left workflows. So if you want to do a 3D smile design, you select, for example, the mock-up and shells. You follow this timeline, this workflow. First, I need to select the templates. Okay, I discuss with the patient, what templates do you like? Do you like the round ones, closed embrasures, open embrasures, incisal edges, whatever you do? You can show the patient, of course, the smile, and then you can select the template. Here, we do have some details that we also discuss very, very precisely in our course. You see, templates are different. So templates, natural templates that we use have different characteristics. And it's very important to understand when we design a smile, we need to follow a little bit also the biological build of the patient, okay? Because what happens here, we do have the form, round, triangle, square. That's clear. We have embrasures, open and closed embrasures, including incisal edges, round and square. That's not a big problem. The big problem is the buccal surface. The buccal surface can be round or flat. So if you have a flat or round buccal surface like this one, right? So the original teeth of the patient, they are round. The buccal surface is round. Now you prep, but your prep follows, of course, follows the original teeth of the patient. So the prep is also round. If you set the design with a round template, it's not a big problem. If you set the design with a flat template like this, that's gonna be a problem. And let me show you why. Our template is JCP, which means Juan Carlos de Palma. He's an exocad specialist and an amazing designer, and he gave me this template to integrate in SmileFy. We do have, as you can see, the round buccal surface. Now, for whatever reason, you decide to change the template and to compare the templates, which is also a very unique feature of SmileFy. So you don't need to go with one set of templates, you can combine them. Aesthetic, select, and now we select this D template, which is also a natural template, but it has a flat buccal surface. And now look what happens with our design. It's a flat buccal surface. It doesn't follow the prep. It is way too thin, so we need to increase the depth, right? We need to increase the depth here, like this, just to cover. It's way too flat. You lose lip support. It is completely different than the patient's actual biological start, right? And it's very hard now to adjust here in the palatal area because the prep is round. So we need to add here with the brushes or with Liquify, we need to distort heavily this template to make it work, which doesn't look very good at the end. So for that reason, if you design, you can select and say, show me only the templates with a round buccal surface. And then at the bottom here, we have only the templates with a round buccal surface like this. You see? Round buccal surface. And now you can select and all of them will match, you know, better the design that you have initially done. Good. So that's the templates. Then you follow again the next step in the workflow, and the next step in the workflow, it's called tools. Tools means you have now all the tools to change the rotation, change the position, change the size, redesign your smile or adjust the smile. Smile analysis. Smile analysis is a very powerful piece, very powerful step in the smile design procedure. And I integrated in SmileFy, I think 30 years of aesthetic studies, because we need a tool which includes all these studies and makes it simple to analyze the smiles, to see what's going on, and to create the most harmonic smiles that we can create using technology. First, facial flow. Beautiful study written by Kristen Coachman, Kyle Stanley, Bruno Pereira, Eduardo Man. The face doesn't have a midline. The face has a flow created by the glabella, tip of the nose, philtrum, and chin. She is pretty symmetric, but sometimes the nose goes to the right, to the left, the chin goes to the other side, right? So you have a curve instead of a line. If you design the smile towards the curve, towards the green side, the smile is considered in harmony with the face. If you design towards the red, then you create a tension, a visual tension in the face by crossing lines, because the chin goes to the right, the smile goes to the left. You have crossing lines in the face, it's not considered in harmony with the face. That's one. Zenith analysis, a very interesting and very powerful study. You set the zenith points of the canine lateral central lateral canine, and we analyze two triangles created by these 3 points. And you see now, very important, the angulations, the distance between the zenith of the central and the canine, the angulations between these lines, and what is not symmetric. Do you need, if you, for example, have, if your patient has a huge gum recession at the canine, and this line would be here, then you will have 15 millimeters and eventually 19 millimeters, right? Because the line would be up to the gum recession, and then it doesn't look good. So you can show to your patient, look, before we design like this, and one canine is that small, the other one is that big, we correct your gingival margins, we correct your gingiva and the cause of your gingival recession, we make a small surgery, we reconstruct your gingiva, and then we create the veneers, and we try to get as symmetric as possible between these two triangles. Now you can analyze. We have 8.3 millimeters, 7.6 millimeters, not so bad, right? It's like 0.9 millimeter. It's a difference. But you can check now if your smile is in symmetry, if the gingival margins are in symmetry, these two triangles. Then we have another study. It's the axial angulation. As you can see, this canine is 0.2 degrees. This canine is 1.1. Not so bad. 1.5, 4.4 degrees. So now you can analyze and say, maybe I'm gonna bring the laterals in the same angulation like this. It looks better, right? 0.8, 0.9, the central's not bad. And let's see with the canine, maybe the other one, maybe this one. Now we have the canine in the same axial angulation, and it looks better, of course, because if the canines are tilted differently, not so good, right? Axial angulation, ideal design. You see, it's very simple. You just click, and then we calculate stuff, and it's visual. You see, if the canines are, if the centrals are on the same line, they are not. So I can bring these central down. What about my? Let me see if it's straight. It has to be straight, exactly like this. Now I can readjust here a little bit the position of my teeth, the canine, same size, same position, and the lateral also. On the other side, now I know that the level or the position of my canines is the same, and now I can check, of course, with the face, right? I can check with the face and see how it looks like with the face. So facial driven smile design. Good. That's the smile analysis. Now we go to the mesh editor where we have brushes, and we can do a lot of stuff with the brushes. I'm going to show you in the veneer part, and then we do the cat preset. So these are the workflows. If you have composite veneers, you do a different workflow. You just follow the steps. If you have implant bridge, then you follow the steps. At the end, you have a full art implant bridge. Or veneers. In our case, we want to go with the veneers. So we do have the first step, guides. What I showed you in the keynote presentation, we do have the prep area. What we want to do is we want to mark this prep area as a visual reference. Where exactly is the contact area between the veneer and the intraoral scan of the patient? Then we want to create thickness layer to see if our veneer is, or design is thick enough. We need for milling 0.45 millimeters, for printing, depending on what quality we're gonna go. So we can now make sure that our design has the thickness to be produced, printed, milled. I take the brush, and what I do is I mark, you see the area with my mouse of the prep, like this. Now, if you use the iPad, we do have on the iPad exactly the same features. That was a pain to create veneers on the iPad, but we did it finally. At the end, we found the solution, the technical solution, so we made it work. You can use the pen and mark this area. You see the prep area, so that we have a visual reference where the veneer is gonna be. That looks good. Okay, pretty precise. Maybe I correct here. Let me see. You see, I can invert the selection, reduce the size, eventually the hardness a little bit. And I'm gonna, yes, that's better because the prep is not there. So here we go. That's my area. Good. Oops. No. Good. Now, very, very easy. I go to veneers, safety area. I can, when I click on this button, it's gonna be 0.45 millimeters. I click on it. Here we go. I got my layer. This layer is gonna show me if my design is thick enough. Let's use the smooth brush and smooth a little bit the edges here, like this. Yeah, I like it. It's better. Okay. Good. I apply my new layer to the 3D design. Now, let's see if our design was properly done. Good. I go to Design 3D Layers. And what do I have? So let me take the free view. Yeah. This layer is zero thickness. This layer is a visual reference to make sure that my design, my tooth is covering the prep area. The other 3D layer is a layer to make sure that the design is thick enough. Let's see. My design covers, you see, covers the thickness. If my design is too lingual, like this, all these red areas show me that when you print or mill, these areas are gonna be thinner than 0.45, and I do have a problem. If I mill, I'm gonna have a hole, right? So in my design, I need to make sure that my tooth covers all the safety area for the veneer. Good. Covers, fine. Then we go to the smile analysis, which we already did. So we have our teeth in the correct angulation. That's fine. Let's go to the mesh editor, because now it's important to using the brushes to prepare the design in the palatal area for the veneer. I click on mesh editor. Now we load the design into this special feature, and then we can use the brushes. Inflate, it's like adding material. Flatten, it's like taking off. Deform, we can deform full areas of the mesh. Edges, very, very sharp edges, and smooth, we can smooth out areas. Let me show you what I mean. So, you see my tooth here is not prepared for a veneer. So I'm gonna hide the safety area. I'm gonna use flatten, and I'm gonna like delete this part of the tooth because I don't need it. What I need is my actual part here. Then I'm gonna also reduce the transparency of the central and the lateral. And now what I need to do is, good. You see, my design doesn't cover the whole tooth. The template needs to be adjusted. So I'm going to use inflate like this. And now I'm going to select the tooth. And I'm going to bring my design here. But not this piece here. Good. Then I use more inflate to make sure I cover here all the pieces. And eventually I'm going to use deform to bring my edges and my tooth, everything in place. Good. I think that's okay. I can smooth out a little bit my editing. Yeah, that's fine. Smoothing out. That's good. Even eventually deform and bring this corner here a little bit like this. Okay, so that's fine. That was the mesh editor. Now I do have a good start for finalizing my veneer. Step number 1, guides, thickness, done. Step number 2, deleting the palatal area, creating the small details for the veneer. Now, Liquify. Liquify, it's a very unique feature. It transforms a solid template into a liquid. And very easy, you can change and adjust stuff without destroying the natural morphology. Okay, so first of all, if you can see, I can select the tooth and I get these points. I can here select the number of points, which is 5, 4, 3, 2, whatever I want. And what can I do with these points? Number 1, I can distort the template without destroying the natural morphology. For example, I want my template to be more flat. I select the point in the middle and look, I make it flat. You see, the natural morphology remains. Now it's flat. I select the point for example, this one. And I can move, you see, and I can adjust the gingival margins. If I need more points, I can change the number of points. I can very easily take this center point and now move and adjust, or I can adjust in one direction, like green, it's Y, red, and blue is Z, so in the depth, right? Like this. Here also, I can bring it up, going down, things like this. Very, very powerful tool. Let's see, let's say we do have this piece here. Yeah, okay, that's fine. And good. I don't change anything in the you see in the buccal surface. That's exactly the same. I can reduce the opacity, I can reduce the design, and now you see, I see with transparency what's going on here. With my design. That's one very powerful feature of Liquify. Good. The second feature of Liquify is AI interproximal correction. So do I have a clean interproximal contact in my design? I don't know. So I analyze now, clicking on Maxilla, I analyze. You see now everything is working, analyzing stuff. That's the best animation and scanning of every single triangle, of every single detail of the template. And the analysis shows me, yeah, your interproximal contacts are not so good, Ralph. So what did you do? Yeah, I intersect the teeth. Okay, click on correct, done. One click, everything is fine, everything is done. That's the correction. That's the interproximal spaces. You can correct the contact points. You can correct a lot of stuff here using this feature. Now it's fine. We go to the CAD next step, the CAD preset, and it was 9. Yeah, it was 9. Good. What we do now is we set the margins. We will change here, I think, a little bit in the next version, the workflow, because you can set the margins, you know, your technician, your lab assistant, right? He can create the margins before with the design, and then you have the margins. You don't need to mark them. Maybe it's easier, maybe it's faster, but in this workflow we need to set the margins here, and I click on the prep like this, and we create the margins. I'm going to show you something also very important in this step. Oh, here and close. Good. Now I messed up this point, so I can readjust the position of the point. Good. I don't really see if the margins is good. Light position. I can change the light position like this in order to have the light coming from different angulations, you see, and now I can see better the margins. So you can change the position of the light and readjust the position of the curve. Okay. Now let's see our tooth and reduce a little bit the transparency. Okay, so because I designed with the visual reference of my of this layer, I see that the margins that I have selected are a little bit. Oh, I messed up here with the design. I messed up here with the Liquify. I didn't check if it covered, you know, the design covered the exactly the prep margin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna correct here first the points, and then I'm gonna correct the design. I'm gonna save, of course, the margin so that we don't need to reload or reset the margins again. Let me see. Otherwise, this one, what's going on? That's good. Okay, so we need to take care of this area there. Okay, save margin, margin saved. back to the design. What did I do? Let's see. Okay. Good. Let me go back. Done. And here we go. Okay. I think this part is covered by the lateral, so that's why I'm gonna make it like this for now. Good. Let's reduce a little bit the design. Yeah. Okay, so we have the margins, we have our design, and I click create veneer. Now it's calculating. Thickness is good. Visual reference is good. Incisal edges, prep edges are adjusted. And now we create the veneer. And that's actually the workflow after the design for every single tooth. Again, we're going to add some more features to, for example, import the margins from the Medit scanner. If the Medit scanner creates the margin automatically, you can import them, you can adjust if needed, and then you don't need to set the margins. We will also add the feature to set the margins at the beginning. Maybe your assistant, lab assistant can set the margins, then they are set, you design, you have the margins, you can immediately create the veneer, right? So to simplify the work or to split the project, right? But very important to understand, SmileFy is built in a different way than every single other software. So we can start a project and we can build on top of the first project, the second project. We can create the mock-up motivational. We, in the same project, we create mock-up ideal. We import the prep file and we create the veneers. Same project. We don't need to duplicate. We don't need to biocopy. We don't need to do any of these because we have one project and we build this project step by step by step by step. If, for example, if you want to create a design with, let me show you. Yeah, if you want, for example, to some point, you do have the design, you do have the everything, and you say, you know what, I think I'm gonna import the CBCT, right? Then you import the CBCT, we segment the CBCT, you STL bone in the planning, and then you say, okay, maybe I readjust my design, and instead of where is it here? Instead of the design that I have initially, we are gonna create a new treatment plan digitally first, and we will create a new design with a crown lengthening treatment plan. You do have the bone margins, you do have the gingival margins, you create the new plan, you measure with the medical viewer, you measure the bone margins, you see where the bone margins are, you create the biological width, you do the gingivectomy, bone grafting, bone reduction, right? Osteoplasty, you create a 3 millimeter biological width, you create a veneer, and then the veneer is this instead of this. So if you have the CBCT or you decide that you are going to go with a different treatment plan, not a problem. You import the CBCT in the existing project, and then you build on top of the existing project more options. So let's see how our veneer looks like. Here we go. That's our veneer. Lost in space and back on in business. Here, that's our veneer. Here, eventually, we have to set the margins better, because you see here it's a little bit too, we need to make them better, but you see that's the veneer. Then we go to the cross section, and I just realized I forgot in my okay, I created the veneer, but what I did, I forgot to set an offset for the cement gap. Okay, so now actually the veneer is watertight. Usually you say, okay, I'm gonna set 50 microns, 100 microns for the cement, and here is the cross section of my veneer, you see, and then you can even measure on this cross section. Okay, it's 1.54 millimeters. We increased in size the ledge, and yeah, that's the cross section. Because if you go to here to CAD features, you see, and you set the margins, then you need to select the offset, and then you set 50, 100 millimeter offset, and then you get the cement gap that you can use, you know, to put the cement and then to glue the veneer. We do have a lot of interesting, unique features. Follow the workflow, not so complicated, because we have a lot of features, but for certain we follow a workflow, and then it's easy. We create the guides, we select the templates. Oh yeah, so now we load the design into the guide feature. We have the guides, then we select the template, tools, smile analysis, smile editor, liquify, mesh editor, and then we set the margins and we create the veneers. Exporting the whole project, you have the STLs in the exported files, everything to the printer. You have printers like Nextend, Sprint Ray, Asiga. You can use ceramic resin. You can print temporaries. You can print veneers, quality check, you know, whatever you want to print. And then that's the workflow for veneers. We work to connect now SmileFy to milling machines, right? Milling machines, so that you import the whole project into an articulator in the software of the milling machine, and then mill, you know, mill the veneers, and we will have more and more automated workflows. One of the big things that are coming this fall, let me show you in the final word. We do have here, we do have this fall where we have also improved the 3D design, and the 3D design is improved based on AI, and it takes you, here is the time, and that's a real recording, so 3 minutes 39. In the first step, you need to calibrate the picture with the intraoral scan. That's fine, but from here, everything is based on AI, and look how we design now 3D. 1 minute, 7 seconds. Occlusal curve set automatically. Smile frame set automatically. 3D design set automatically. Boom. After 1 minute, you get this smile design. Right now, we do have the prototype to finalize the mock-up by deleting the occlusal, the occlusal part of the smile, and then having the veneer or the mock-up like this, and then creating the mock-up. But we work also on the part where we create like veneers directly with AI, and you will be able to do in 3-4 minutes the full design, and then to send to print. This fall, it's going to be interesting. So I talked a lot. I hope you have some questions. Let's see. Okay. No questions so far. So, Jorge, the stage is yours. Thank you so much for your time and attending. We have now some interesting programs. If you are interested and you like the SmileFy platform, if you want to get started, we have some interesting programs, and Jorge is gonna present to you yeah. Are you here, Jorge?
Yes, that's correct. I was typing, like, I just want to let people know that we have a special offer for everybody who attends this webinar. They're gonna have on the premium package 300 off. So be free. That would be available for a couple of days. I have a special code, one special link, so you can definitely enroll with this special discount. And also, doctors, if you have any other question, you can like send me any message. I share with you my direct phone number, so you can WhatsApp on me, text message, or even call me. That offer will be available for a couple of days.
Okay. Sure. So, what you suggest for resin 3D printed veneers? There is onyx resin from Print-Ready, and you can print full art implant bridges. You can print veneers. So more and more material ceramic resins are now urging the market. Interesting. It's gonna be more and more, and it's gonna be very, very interesting. So if you follow, we do have a program, and this program builds actually the knowledge and expertise step by step. So if you start, for example, with the simple mockup, then you gain all the knowledge that you need for the 3D design, and then the veneers, it's just an additional step. If you are designing already with different other tools, then you just need to know the workflow that is top left, and then you follow this workflow to create the veneers. It's very, very simple, and it works on iPad. You can use the pen. It works even on the iPhone. I don't know if you're gonna ever design veneers on the iPhone, but you can. At least you can open the project, analyze, readjust the design, things like this, and then even do the final version. Yes. Yeah. So at the end of the project, you can export the full project STLs. So you get STL as a project, output STL, you can send it to the printer, you can send it to the lab, you can send the full project to your lab and say, okay, here is my project, take it over, Neil. So that's gonna be, it's always an open project, and you always can export the full files, the full project. Everything is calibrated, everything is done. Can you print each mockup detached from the model and one base model? Yeah. So what we can do is we close the meshes. If you have an open mesh, we close the meshes, we set the base, we can do all this stuff, and then you can print the intraoral scan, and you can print only the design, like temporaries. You can print the mockup, you can print only the teeth, you can create with all the teeth, you can union them, and then you can create a difference, right, like shells. So all this stuff is possible, and then you can print shell mockup, you can print whatever you want. So you do have all the CAD features. Actually, let me show you a little bit. You have here in the advanced all the features. You see union, difference, intersection. So then you go and say union, you union all your design teeth like this, and then you have one STL file with the full design, and then you say, okay, that's the one design, and then make the difference between the model and the design, and then you get shells, for example, and then you can, instead of the mockup, you can put shell mockup. So you have all the options, yeah, to create whatever you need in your special situation. Good. So let me see more questions. What is the main difference between 3Shape, 3D Veneer, or ExoCAD with SmileFy? It is possible to mill the design to an image veneer. So SmileFy is not yet CAD CAM. We don't have the connection to the CAM, right? 3Shape, ExoCAD are complete systems that you can design and send the design to the milling machine. SmileFy creates the project. You need to export the project, and then, for example, import the project, the design in lab, create there the veneers, or import the project into 3Shape or into ExoCAD, and then create the veneers, biocopy the design, and create the veneers there. You know, you can use all these features with Smile Analysis, our templates, Liquify to create the design. But then to mill, you will need, for example, to do a biocopy in ExoCAD and then create the veneers there and then mill, right? So that's the difference. We're not CAM, we're just the design software, the Smile design software, very focused on facially driven smile design, creating the complete design, but we don't have the connection to the milling machine. Good. What else? Yeah, so we offer a fee for the design service, and in the next 2 weeks we're gonna release a new version with lab services. So you will be able to design yourself and then order the final veneers and everything through our lab, or you will be able to outsource the design and say, that's my mock-up, patient is fine, and then will design for you. We create everything for you, and then we will have also the production part where we send you the veneers and everything else. That's gonna be end of October, November. We will launch also the production services, complete production services. But you have, you know, then you can use the SmileFy platform as a communication platform, design, lab. You see the stage of the design. You can give, you can change yourself the design. You can contribute to the design, and then, you know, we take over the final production.